From the Charleston County Recycling Center to 526 to the future of the Naval Hospital, I speak exclusively with Charleston County Council member Teddie Pryor for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Up app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, Teddie Pryor.
Quintin, Washington. Good to see you again.
Likewise.
Yes, sir.
I know that obviously there's a lot going on Charleston County Council. And I want to go back to the Post-Courier article recently that talks about really issues with sewer and unincorporated areas in Charleston County.
Yes.
And I know that there's some rules coming up for that.
Right.
What exactly are those rules?
Well, what we have done, Quintin, is drafted an ordinance, and that ordinance states that anyone that lives in the unincorporated area of Charleston County, would have access to sewer, and if the pipe runs down your line or down your street, you would be not forced, but you would need to tie into it. Now, a lot of folks in the Snowden area, this is what it's come from,
Right.
they welcome this idea because they've been trying to get sewer for many, many years. They're willing to pay for the tap fee, and they're willing to pay, a regular monthly sewer bill. But we felt that this stretched forward, more beyond the Snowden area. We got unincorporated on James Island, Johns Island, Hollywood, on and on and on in these unincorporated areas. And so in the 21st century, people should be entitled to sewer and water without having to be forced to annex into a town or another entity.
If you were to go back and vote for this, once all the issues are done with, how would you vote with that?
Well, I would vote yes, because, we are 208 provider, okay? And that says that if these unincorporated areas that have service, we could team up with someone that provides that service to give it to them. So I am in support of supplying these folks what they need. Water and sewer, I mean, when you look at septic tanks, and those things are not being kept up right, getting water into the environment and all this nasty stuff, not in the 21st century. I mean, this is a must. That must be done for the folks in Snowden, throughout the whole Charleston County area, not just Snowden, but Snowden brought it up, so now we're moving in the right direction.
Mm. You talk moving in the right direction. Let me talk to you about the Charleston County Recycling Center.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the Robert Street location has just been reopened.
Yes.
But I understand it's on a free day run?
No, it's open temporarily until our big facility on Palmetto Commerce opened up. We were sending this stuff down to Horry County.
Right.
It was costing us a good bit of money to send stuff down, and half of it was coming back. So our staff brought back an idea for us to get this up and running temporarily. And so now we are recycling the stuff that we normally would send to Horry County. We're doing that right at that little location. But we are looking to go regional. Mm-hmm. And once we get our facility on Palmetto Commerce up and running, which will probably be sometime late 2020, then we'll be able to provide services for, Berkeley, Dorchester, whoever wants to come and bring their recyclables. But we are recycling. And, it's been a lot of misinformation, but there's not a market out there for it, but there is a market. But the stuff has to be good stuff. It can't be wet cardboard. Glass is obviously something that's hard that nobody wants to take. But I think we are, looking at a market for that right now. But as I said before, this is just a temporary fix. We probably look to get out there for 18 months, no more than 2 years, and then we'll move on out to our new facility.
You talk about that market. How much would that cost you all?
When what are you talking about?
When you want to try to recycle, I know right now you can't recycle glass and whatnot.
Right.
But how much would that cost you all if you were to open that type of market up?
Well, that has to be studied.
Okay.
And it all depends on the commodity. I mean, the market. Most of this stuff, if you get it right, especially plastic and aluminum, you can sell it on the open market, and you bring in some revenue. But as far as what it will cost us to get into the glass recycling, that's to be determined.
I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. What's right and what's wrong?
Well, the misinformation is that recycling doesn't work, and we're taking the stuff and we put it in the landfill. That's not true. The stuff that you see that was over at the landfill, that was a combination of the wheat that we couldn't get to Horry County. It got wet, so you can't take that stuff nowhere else to sell it. So we had to take it over to the landfill and dispose of it properly. But the myth is that recycling doesn't work. It does work.
And for some people's mind, it's worked for many, many years at that particular location.
Yes.
When you think of that, what goes to your mind?
Well, that location, we've outgrown that location. And what happened was, recycling took off so fast, and we had a little complication with building our new facility, and that's why we at where we at right now. But we might go to single stream recycling where everything is put in one can, picked up, and then send it to our recycling center, sorted out, and then we sell what we can and dispose of what we can.
Sure. What was that one problem that you all had?
The problem we had up there was, we originally wanted a 60,000 square foot building to hold our staff, our office space, and the last guy who we had as our recycling coordinator, supervisor, decided to change the plans without council knowing, and by the time we found out about it, it was too late, so we had to stop everything in order to go back and now redo what we wanted. So you'll see a new 60,000 square foot building that's coming up for Palmetto Commerce that was original. But that was some of the hang up, and that was some of the hiccups. But we're moving forward. We're moving past that now. We are trying to secure better prices to move forward. But we're headed in the right direction.
What prices are you talking?
Well, originally I think it was we were talking 23 to 24 million.
Okay.
And and I think we may be a little over budget, maybe by a couple of $1 million, but that's to be expected after what some of the problems we went through. But the people want recycling. We're committed to giving them recycling, and so we're moving forward.
Now, when that particular supervisor made those changes without council's approval, what was going to your mind first?
Well, when I heard about it, it was after the fact, and I was livid because we had already voted, we had already passed ordinance on what we wanted, and when I heard this, I was really livid. But he left to go somewhere else. I guess he foresaw what was happening, so he left to go somewhere else, and we got stuck with it. So now we, making lemonade out of lemon.
Now, how do you rectify this situation in the future?
Well, you rectify it by, it's always been my intent to have a project manager on each particular job.
Okay.
That way that project manager works for you, the county council, and they got your interests at heart. Unlike an employee working, I just want a paycheck. So we have taken steps to rectify this, and going forward you will see a project manager that's working on these projects and reporting back to council to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen again.
526. In a special subcommittee meeting recently in Columbia, Channel 5 reports this. Charleston County officials, that is, continue to push to try and convince state lawmakers it has the money it needs to fund its portion of the $725 million needed to finish 526. The county is on hook for $300 million, and officials are convinced they can fund it using portions of the 2004 and 2016 half-cent sales tax. Combined, when you think of the 2014 and 2016 sales tax, how much is that available?
Well, we have had our staff to do an analysis.
Okay.
And, with money that's coming from the Council of Government,
right.
The money that's coming from the half-penny sales tax, and I think we have enough money if we had to do it all ourselves. Mm. But with federal money coming in, now you're looking at a new infrastructure bill over $2 trillion, I believe it is. And so we got a shovel-ready project that's, we have money and matching funds. So all of this is to be determined. But what SCDOT is, not SCDOT, but the State Infrastructure Bank is asking, are we responsible, or can we do the whole three? But we've shown them all the statistics that we can do this. So now we're just waiting on them to sign off and says, okay, they're proving us that they have the funding. They're proving us that, they're going to be working with SCDOT to make this happen. Now we need to just move forward and release the money. But if you look at it, county council has never, ever defunded, I would say, defrauded anybody or never started a job that we never finished. Look at the Cooper River Bridge, Arthur Avenue Bridge. Okay, that was something that we made a promise that we had the funding to do it, and we're still doing that. Okay. So this is not our first rodeo with the State Infrastructure Bank. And remember, this is the first time in the history of the State Infrastructure Bank that they have not finished the project that they started, and they said, well, we're going to put you on the hook to finish the rest. First time in my history. Now, I've known that, so if somebody else can show me where the State Infrastructure Bank started a project and didn't finish it and says, okay, it's your responsibility to finish it, I'd be willing to take a look at it.
What are those statistics?
When you say statistics, what do you mean?
When you said that you all could, if you could fund the entire 300 million.
Well, we have to have any sales tax. We have, like I said, money from the Council of Government. You know, we have money that comes from the State Infrastructure Bank. So we have a plan in place to do all this. We've submitted all that to them. They have that.
Okay.
So for them to say they don't know where the money's coming from is disingenuous because they have all that sitting in front of them. This is just politics that's being played now.
How much would all that combine when you get the money from the Berkeley, Dorchester, Charleston governments, and then of course the sales tax and all this other stuff?
Well, you're looking at over $300 million, but maybe less than $100 million coming from Charleston County. That being sales tax.
And it goes on to say this from the Channel 5 article that State Senators Paul Campbell and Leon Stavronakis both tried to help the county's cases. Stavronakis pointed to the county's growth since 2009. What does the growth look like now in 2019?
Well, from what I'm told, you got over 30 to 50 people coming in the Tri-County area every day. And so when you look at Charleston County and its growth, it's just tremendous growth. Everybody is moving to Charleston County, Dorchester County, and Berkeley County. And so the more people you have move in, the bigger the tax base. Think about it. People are buying houses, they're renting, they're paying sales taxes. And so it's a good outcome and a good look for us. I mean, the county, we have a AAA on credit rating, which is important when you go out to borrow. That happened, I think it was in 2007 or 2008 when I became chairman. That was one of my goals to get us. We were AA plus, but I wanted to be AAA because I knew it would help us when we go to borrow money, get a better credit rating. Spent 3 days in New York City, met with all the bond rating agencies, convinced them that we had the funding and we had the capability to get it. And so later on, we got the AAA bond credit rating. Only a few in the United States has that.
Now, since you have that credit rating, how much money will you have been able to borrow?
Well, I couldn't tell you exactly how much we was able to borrow, but for the half-penny sales tax, most of the stuff in the new one, we're funding as we go, pay as we go. So when the money comes in, we use it as it comes in versus going out. Now, some of these big projects, we go out and we borrow money to bond those, but most of them, like the green belts and others, it's pay as you go.
Pay as you go. Mm-hmm. Now, would you all be willing to have some sort of bond referendum?
For what?
For 526?
We've already had that.
Okay.
That's been decided. People have decided a long time ago, that 526 needs to be built and needs to move on. I mean, we have done that. They've taken, internal polls, and you see the numbers, people are ready to move on. So it's time for us to just move on. This stuff should have been done years ago. And everybody's saying it'll cost $700 million to $1 billion to get this done. I just believe the price are overinflated. And I think when the real prices come out, we probably can do it for less than that.
How much are you talking less?
Probably $650.
Okay.
Yeah. You put it out, and I guarantee you, some company will come in and says, okay, I can do it for this. These are just numbers that were thrown out by the Conservation League and the State Infrastructure Bank to try to scare people to say, oh, you see, I told you it's going to be $1 billion to do this project.
Now, with that leftover money, what would you do with that then?
The leftover money will go back into the half-penny sales tax.
Okay.
And remember, no road is going to be sacrificed. Any road that was on that new penny, we are doing it now. Main and 17, Highway 41, all these things are being done. So when you hear people trying to spin it to say, oh, they're not going to do what they said they do, that's not true. Not one road is going to be sacrificed by us moving money around to finish 526.
Now, what else other misinformation is out there about 526 as we sit here right now?
Well, the misinformation is it's going to destroy the environment. People really don't need it. And, it's going to be too costly. But I tell you what, all it takes is one big catastrophe where people get trapped on those islands and they can't get on at all. And, somebody's going to be blamed for it. Public safety is one of the first issues we should be looking after. We know something is going to happen sooner or later. It's just not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And as a councilman, my job is to look out for the safety of the whole entire Charleston County, not just my district, but the whole entire Charleston County. And, 526 is a must. We need it.
Where are we with the Naval Hospital right now? I know it's going to be torn down with this now May.
Well, we did a study with the ULI, and, they wanted to have an insurance policy. More like to see what they thought, and they came back with the same recommendation our plan was to tear the neighborhood hospital down, but they didn't come back and say, well, you need to build your facility, but they came back with the same idea, it needs to be torn down and something else put there. You know, county council voted back a month and a half ago that we would do this study, and after the study, you know, we would move forward because we had already said we would move forward with demolition and putting a building on that site. So as far as I know, that's what I'm looking at doing. That's what we promised the taxpayers. That's what we voted on. So it's time to move forward.
When you say the insurance policy, what exactly was that?
You know, and that we did everything we could to make sure we did the right thing. You know, you had some people say, oh, we need a second opinion. You didn't trust the first, you know, people we had come in. So that was just like, we give you a second opinion. The ULI, the Conservation League, Charleston County, the City of North Charleston, you know, they came together and, you know, and that's what the results were. If you look at it, it needs to be torn down and something else put there.
What can you put there now? What are your recommendations?
Well, my recommendation is what we wanted from the beginning, a social service house,
Okay.
where folks can go there and get you know, services that they need to provide. And you know, and across the street, we're working with the City of North Charleston to try to bring a grocery store in that area. And I just believe if you got the Wake Watcher program that's over there, you got a job that's over there, and you got people that's coming in over there, that's the room to bring a grocery store.
How close are we to bringing a grocery store to that part of Charleston?
Well, that's something the City of North Charleston would have to,
Okay.
you know, to take on.
Sure.
But I know they have tried, and we've tried every effort that we can to bring one there. But the numbers, what they say, they look at the median income in that area
Sure.
and say it doesn't meet the criteria of bringing a grocery store there. But I beg to differ because those are the people that are going to shop, and those are the people that are going to spend money with.
Where are they shopping now?
Well, some of them go to Save a Lot, about a mile down the street. And some of them go over to the food line on Dorchester Road. Some of them go to the Barlow, West Ashley. So, you know, people are making do with what they got. But I believe and I'm hoping and praying that we're going to get a grocery store in that area.
Now, how much money is this not having a grocery store? How much money is the City of North Charleston losing by not having a grocery store in that location?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't think nobody can put that number on it because, you know, the city had even given incentive that they would pay so much money every year if you didn't make a profit.
Okay.
You know, I think a grocery store would be helpful to the revitalization of that area because you'd have more traffic coming in and coming out.
Okay.
But as far as which money is being missed, that's to be determined.
Now, how much money is Charleston County spending to get this building, the Naval Hospital, demolished?
Well, the last figure we had, it would take $6 million to tear that building down. But, you know, I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask, you know, could it be done for less?
Okay.
Seems like to me, I guess they want to take it the way they explain it from top to bottom. But, I mean, if we can have somebody come in and demo the whole building for less than that and then clean it up, it might make sense. But, you know, I'm going to go back and ask staff to take another look at that.
Now, are any other municipalities participating in that cost, contributing to that cost?
No, it's strictly Charleston County because we own the 22 acres.
Okay, okay. Well, Councilman Teddie Lewis.
Teddie Pryor. The one and only.
Teddie Pryor, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, my friend. It's always good to see you.
Likewise.
And I hope I answered all the questions that you asked.
Oh, yeah, thank you so
All
much.
right. Okay, look forward to seeing you in the future.
Yes, sir.
All right.